Hi, my name is Koye Adesanya. I'm the CEO and Director of Mojo Kojo, and this is posted by Post Urban. So I started Mojo Kojo in January of 2016, but prior to that, there's actually like a history behind that. I've always been into my Nigerian culture and always been into streetwear. I noticed at university that 90s fashion was very, very popular in terms of people using bright colors and different prints. So I immediately saw a connection with the prints of the 90s fashion and also, sourcing African fabric. So that was a direct connection. And then back then, even still right now, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was super popular, and it's got like a lot of influences even in today's culture. Mojo Kojo, the Kojo actually stands for my full name, which is actually Koyejo. So I shortened Koyejo to Kojo. And then Mojo means, confident swag, that's basically me. So in terms of my values, I would say, well, first of all, the clothing is for men and women, so I try and make it as open as possible. They tend to be worn at parties, festivals. A lot of our popular pieces are bum bags, our bucket hats, our trousers, our pants, and our dungarees as well. So that was my initial interest. I wanted to create a clothing line for myself, people like myself and my friends to wear at these sorts of events. You get to see an insight into what I view of African culture through the actual styling and wearing of Mojo Kojo. And I would say joy as well, because I'm a joyful person. I try to be, and I try to integrate that into my brand as well. I would say a final value of mine is, I guess, exploration. Try and do something new. Try and be out your comfort zone. Wear my clothing to like on holiday or to an event, or wear something a bit different, because it's always gonna you're always gonna get asks in terms of people ask you where do you get that from. So, and that's how I try to live. So yeah. The first thing I did to bring my brand to life was honestly just do a lot of online research. So I went through like a business analysis type of view. I wanted to see if there were other brands that are doing something that I wanted to do in terms of something quite similar, and I wanted to see who else was in the market, and I also wanted to see if there was a gap in the market. So I just did like a lot of online research, and then I started looking into types of color themes in terms of complementary colors and which colors go with what. I actually used some of my connections in Nigeria. So my parents live in Nigeria, and what I did was that I just contacted her personal tailor, who basically makes all her clothing for her. And then I sent him some designs that I saw with some fabrics that I chose as well. And then I just got him to make a few pieces. And the good thing about that is that I did all of this post-university, so I had a bit of time. I wasn't actually working then. So on holiday, when I was going to Nigeria, my mum would take me to the actual markets in Lagos for me to try and source fabrics and give me an understanding of what the market was like. Prior to that, I didn't actually go to the market at all. So she kind of like showed me the ropes of like where to go and like how to find certain things. So I went with her a few times for that. And then I guess finally is that I created a website, and then I just put all the stuff on my website from all the designs that my mum's tailor made. So I've actually had some help along the way. I guess like to put it into perspective, I actually started the business from a government loan. And it was actually a 2K business loan, which I pretty much spent in like less than 3 months. It was crazy. I literally blew it all. But all in the right things, but I realized how much money you need to launch a business. And then I also got a lot of advice from my parents, mainly from the supply chain aspect in terms of getting the clothes made in Nigeria and like shipping it here to the UK. They helped me with their connections, and I also was able to live at home as well. That's also like a benefit that I should definitely speak more about. Anytime I was working on the collections, I could live at home, and whilst it was getting built or whilst it was getting made. It's also important that I talk about my club night called Ijoya, which is basically like the Yoruba term for time to dance. So I created disco funky African inspired disco funky music. I created like several like club nights from that, and then I used that money from the club nights to like fund a lot of my collections early, very early on in the business. And that was like super helpful, because after I blew the 2K, I was like, I need to figure out something else to make the money. And and the good thing about that is that it really integrated the clothing with the music, because I got my friends to wear some of our sample pieces at the events, and then we had like a little fashion show during the event. So, I would say those are the three main things that helped me. I do have one funny story, I would say, from working on Mojo Kojo. And I would say going on Okada, which is basically like a bike in Lagos, right? And it's a very high speed bike. It gets you through different corners and everything like that, and especially helpful in the traffic. My mum has always banned me to go on those, because she's just been so worried that like I'll fall off or something, or I'll get an accident. We were working the collection for Urban Outfitters, and we were like running low on time, and every day and every hour counted. And that morning, a lot of fabric was planning to run out midday for a collection that we were making. And then I had to actually go and source some additional fabric from my contacts in the market. And I actually got to the market, or I was actually on my way to the market in a car. Traffic on the way back was like super bad. It was bad on the way there, but it was even worse on the way back. And we had like the bundles of fabric in the boot. So I decided that, like, we're not gonna get to the studio on time. Let me jump on a bike and then carry all the wads of fabric on me. So I basically ditched the driver, and I ditched the car, and then jumped onto the bike, and then like carried the fabric like that, like on the way to the studio. So it was a pretty rich experience, I would say. And like I'll definitely go on it again. Don't tell mom. But that helped me get the fabrics to the studio in good time, I'll say. Honestly, what keeps me motivated to actually continue Mojo Kojo and like really enjoy what I'm doing is just the fact that I've already got the vision in my head, and I really want to make it as clear as possible, and just really try and live that experience, because I know that I've got the talent, I've got the interest, and I've got the creativity to really like make it happen. And like something I've noticed over the past few years is that I'm actually helping a lot of local workers in Lagos. I'm giving them salaries, paying them above the living wage. And I've been with the same people that I started working with about 4 years ago. So it obviously shows that, there's actually a good relationship there. So it's the fact that, they can tell me that, oh, like, I was able to do this and this, with my funds or whatever. I was able to move house. I was able to buy a sewing machine, from all the work that you've given us to do. And that really makes me feel good, because everyone does need help. So I feel really good about having that brand connection in terms of hand making the clothes in Nigeria, sourcing the fabric, sourcing the materials, and also sourcing the talent. And it's all about like those relationships you make with your team. Seeing other people wear my clothing, it really is such like a great feeling. Whether they tag me on Instagram, if they've been out with their friends or a holiday, or whether I've seen it myself, or whether another friend takes a picture of someone wearing my clothing, and the fact they can actually recognize my prints is just amazing. So that keeps me motivated, and that's basically the fuel that keeps me going.